It was interesting after practice yesterday. I told our team, I said, we've had 4 days of installation offensively. We've had 4 years of installation defensively. So I think that puts things in perspective a little bit about where we are. Really pleased with the production we've had offensively for 4 days. Really playing fast, physical. We've really limited negative plays to this point. We have not cut back at all defensively to let them get through the installation. We've tried to make it as hard as possible, but our guys have got a lot of confidence, playing real good tempo and having a lot of fun. And that's been I've been very pleased with the first 4 days so far. Injury-wise, Neron Ball has a sprained MCL. He's going to be fine. He probably will not participate in the rest of spring. He probably could in the latter part, but feel like there's some other guys need some reps. Rod Johnson's been out with a head injury. He should be back Friday. I'm hoping. Jordan Sherritt's got an elbow. Should be back Monday. He'll be in non-contact. He got a hyperextended a little bit there on a block one day. Darius Cummings' father's had a procedure, and he's missed a couple practices to be with his family at this time. But everything's fine. He's still here, and his father's over at UF Health, and he's doing well as far as I know. So that's kind of where we are, and open up for any questions. Yeah, hyperextended his elbow. Should be fine. They think they'll clear him for contact Monday. He may miss this weekend, but should be fine Monday.
Will Roper said when he in his press conference that 15 days is plenty to get the offense up and going. Do you kind of see that now that maybe there's an offense that players can catch on pretty quickly?
Well, I think so. He's got a very good fundamental teaching method as far as his installation is concerned. It's one of in the interview process, one of the things that really stood out to me with the simplistic ideas he has about the way we do things. A really good teacher as far as concepts are concerned, and our players have caught on really well. So I've been really pleased. It dawned on me yesterday as I'm watching practice and I'm seeing us moving the ball and the confidence and the tempo our guys are playing with, and you're thinking about 4 days as opposed to 4 years. And that puts it all in perspective about where you are, and been very, very pleased.
Is this the most talented, capable group of receivers you've had?
I don't think there's any question. You look right now, and Quentin's had a really good spring to this point. DeMarcus Robinson's done some really nice things. Valdez Showers continues to do some good things. LaTroy Pittman's, played well for us. All of those guys, Ahmad Fullwood has done a nice job. We got 6 guys right there that have repped pretty well for us at the position that you can roll in and out. And, our base personnel grouping will be some form of 3 wides, whether it's 2 backs and 3 wides or 1 back and a tight end, or, Hunter can do some different things from that B position, a tight end / fullback type of guy.
Vernon Hargraves obviously started last year, but kind of the differences in his responsibility this year, kind of mean that.
Well, I think from a leadership standpoint, he understands he needs to take the next step there, and he certainly can. He's got great respect in the locker room because of his playmaking ability, but also the way he is as a person, the way he leads his life off the field. He's a great example of what's good about college football, and God's blessed him with a lot of ability, but he has certainly taken advantage of his blessings. But I think some of the little things, we had a situation there yesterday when, we're running a mesh concept and a crossing concept. He could have played ahead of that a little bit. I think there's some little things we got to continue to work on, but he's such a coachable guy. And you tell him once and he gets it, and he goes over in the film and he totally understands it. He's not combative at all about, getting better and improving, and that he's a joy to coach. Certainly is.
How would you compare Jalen Tabor with Vernon? How he's doing so far?
Well, again, I think it's been he and Duke Dawson both have been a quick study as far as the corner position is concerned. Both of them are going to be really good players. You got to just continue. The willingness is there and the coachability is there with both guys. They're willing to be in the film room extra. They're willing to come up here after hours and meet with our coaches and go over things and go over schemes and watch film and learn from it. And the one thing that I would say that they both have a very similar ability to Vernon is when you tell them it once, they get it. They don't make that mistake again. And that's something that to be a good player, that's part of it. They're both very talented. You know, Jalen's got really good length on the line of scrimmage. Need to do a better job in his press technique of staying on the line of scrimmage, getting his hands on people. That's his strength. And Duke's a guy that's playing corner and nickel. And right now is battling Brian Poole for the starting job at nickel.
How is that competition for the other starting cornerback job shaping up, or is it too early?
Well, I think it's too early right now. You know, I think we need to get out and let them play Saturday and get off the field and actually have them communicate, make calls, and under situations, under a little duress. We're going to create that Saturday. So, but, you know, Brian Poole's in that as far as the regular package is concerned, and see where those guys will shape up at the position.
Seems like Jabari Foreman, something maybe a light switch for him being a senior, but Blake's really stepped up this year. Do you see changing him preparation-wise on the field?
Well, Jabari's very smart. You know, he's a guy that gets it. He understands and learns well, and he's seen the game. It's slowed down tremendously for him over the years, and you know, he's played a lot of football for us and played well for us last year. So I've been very pleased with his spring to this point in 4 days, and the off-season program.
Is communication one of the biggest things for him and the safeties?
Well, and he has done a nice job. The others, I can't say that, but he has done a nice job. You know, he understands the importance of those, you know, the communication on the back end. We just got to do a better job of understanding that a mistake there is normally not good for the Gators, and that's where we've got to tie some things up. I've been pleased with Marcus and some things, but we just got to clean up some technique and fundamental issues there. And I need to get Keanu O'Neal back. I think he'll be back Monday. I think he'll miss this weekend, but it was not a re-pull of the hamstring. It was just some scar tissue. You know, Marcel Harris continues to come on. Nick Washington. You know, Nick's a guy that can play a lot of different things for us. You know, Nick's a guy that can play corner, can play safety, can play nickel. He's very smart. We need to continue to improve there. I think the ability is there. We need to continue to be more productive. And then at corner, I feel the same thing. The ability is there. We just need to be more consistent in what we're doing.
Well, could you assess wide receiver play? It seems like they're making a lot of plays.
Yep. I think we've met as a staff this morning. There's 6 guys that have kind of made a step forward. You know, Pittman and Valdez Showers in the slot, I think have done a nice job. And we're playing right and left with our outside receivers at this point. I said it on day one, you know, I think it's really important to teach the concepts of what we do offensively. Then we'll start putting guys in positions to get them the ball more. But, you know, Quentin Dunbar, DeMarcus Robinson, Ahmad Fullwood, Chris Thompson, you know, all of those guys have shown some flashes and done some nice things through a 4-day and had good off seasons as well. I think so. Case does not. You know, again, I mentioned those 6 because they've been consistently in the 4 practices. But Case Harrison's a guy that does some nice things for us. Mm-hmm.
You seen Russ start to come off for Driscoll, or where's he at right now?
You know, you still weight transfer and throwing a little bit. Sometimes he's overstepping a little bit, which causes him to sail the ball. That's been something that you know, Kurt's really working on. I think Kurt's a really good fundamental quarterback coach. It was good to see Shane Matthews out there yesterday, and he commented to me about, you know, how well he felt like Kurt deals with the quarterback, and a guy that's obviously had a great career here in the National Football League. But you know, early on he was overstriding a little bit. We created to sail his ball a little bit, but you know, we'll work on those things. And I just think you know, he just feels much more confident and comfortable in what we're doing. I think fits his skill set better. And I've been very pleased with his maturity and handling it. But he's running well, he's moving around well. The ankle is not bothering him as far as those things are concerned. I think continuing just to work on the fundamentals, because he really didn't throw much, you know, to my knowledge, until we started practice. I mean, so it's, you know, he was just cleared right before spring was concerned as far as all the movement stuff is concerned.
And behind him, it seems like Will and Skyler are fairly even.
Yeah, right now I think those guys will continue to split reps, and you know, Jeff has certainly distanced himself right now at this point, but those guys have done some nice things at times. Again, I think you know, Jeff's been through change before, so I think the more times you go through that stuff, you kind of can handle it and move forward. The maturity takes over. You know, everything's brand new to Will. The speed of the game, the installation. Again, defensively, we've played 3 down, we've played 4 down, we've mixed coverages, we've pressured. We have not pulled off at all as far as who is in there. We're going through our true installation on both sides of the ball, and I've been real pleased with how those guys have handled it.
Do the numbers at quarterback make it easier to use all that Jeff can do this year as opposed to last year where you
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you got guys that have had playing experience and have quality, quality depth. I mean, I think when you deal with that, so there's no question.
I mean, in terms of the running game, because
Yeah. No, we got to be able to do what we got to do to win football games. So, when you have some experience, number one, and then you have what you feel like is some really talented players behind him, we feel good about that.
Safe to say he's going to be your starter.
What's that?
It's safe to say that he's going to be your starter with the experience that he's got. Just kind of a matter of time.
Jeff?
Yeah.
Well, and I think he's got a high talent level as well. So I think we're doing things that are more comfortable for him, and I've been very pleased in 4 days.
Which is the most immediate change Bert's brought?
Well, I think more than anything, from a tempo standpoint at practice, we've always worked some tempo periods of practice, but not the entire practice. You watch 7-on-7. It's made us play faster. It's made us think faster. I think that a lot of that has been just a positive outlook on what we're trying to do and how we're trying to do it. So I think there's a lot of confidence level on our offensive side of the ball for the first time in a while that he's been able to bring that. And there's no question you see his energy on the practice field and how he coaches the players, and he coaches every down and corrects it when it's wrong and congratulates us when it's right. And that's I think, again, playing to the players' strengths and what we're trying to do. And I think he does a really good job of that. I just think he's a very good fundamental football coach, and he and I are on the same page of what we're trying to do.
You've talked about simplifying things. Can you give an example of just how he simplifies reads?
I think when you're in a no-huddle situation, you can't have a lot of verbiage. And sometimes when you are a huddle team, you have more verbiage to make description for what everyone needs to do, from up front in a run or pass protection, from a route concept, from a back route concept or run game concept. When you're in a no-huddle situation, you got to make it fast. You got to get on the ball. You're not going to be able to walk up and, spider 3 sail. I mean, you can't make a lot of the verbiage on the line of scrimmage. You got to make it quicker, more concise, and the concepts are faster and easier to get to.
I mean, is that harder initially?
Well, initially, because there's a little more memorization as far as what one word means everything. But at the end of the day, that's that makes it concise and fast, and that's why you got to play with a high tempo. That's how you do it.
The offense seems to be drastically different, especially for tight ends and fullbacks. How do you see Hunter, Kevin, and some of the other guys adjusting?
Well, not as much. There's not as much on the line work, but a lot of the other stuff, movement work, we've done before. But again, I've been pleased with what we've been able to do. Hunter's going to be more in that role. Gideon came back yesterday off a hamstring and was able to practice. So, Clay's done some nice things. Tevin's done some nice things. So I think that other than the on-the-line work, has been pretty similar to some things that they've done before.
Well, back-to-back years, you lost some important defensive tackles. How are you feeling there? And moving Jonathan Bullard, is that something that you kind of see sticking, or?
Well, I think a little of it is Brian Cox is playing pretty well at defensive end, and that allows you to move guys around. Brian had a great offseason, worked extremely hard, but John's you're going to need to play both. He's going to need to play both inside and outside. He's a very good inside nickel rusher on throwing downs. He does a really nice job as far as his athleticism versus the inside players in our league. He has the advantage there. But Brian's allowed us to be able to do that and get him inside more. Leon will be back in the fall. Darius has been in spring at times, but those are two experienced players that have played well for us. Caleb Brantley has got all the tools. He's got to do it every day. Got to do it every snap and understand to battle through that threshold of pushing through tough, fatigue and things. Janard Bostwick has done some nice things for us as an inside player. Antonio Riles has done some nice things. So, I feel like the depth is there. We've got some good players. Joey Ivey's played inside and outside. He's doing what John's doing. Because by cross-training some guys up front, it provides depth. When we're in 3 down, the end and the tackle position are the same. There's nothing different. I mean, you're playing a four technique, and that's a head up the tackle. Now, we may be moving the front, or we may be playing two gap, but from that standpoint, it's all the same. It's a little different when you get to four down and you slide out from an end standpoint. You could be in a six technique to a nine, or head up the tight end to outside, or you could be a three technique where you're facing a lot of different blocking combinations as far as gap schemes and double teams. That's drastically different. But, if you limit it to a nickel rush situation for John or Joey, you're not facing some of the gap schemes you're going to face on 1st and 10 for as far as, third down rush downs or 1 minute situations. So, but those guys will cross-train inside. Alex McAllister's done a nice job at buck position with Dante to be able to get those combination on the field, of possibly even playing Dante some at the end and Alex at the buck position. Naron Ball in the fall will figure into the buck position on third down rushes because he's a guy that can give us some juice on the edge.
How do you feel offensive line-wise comfortable with Max moving the center and kind of shuffling some that?
Well, we've thrown a lot at them up front, as far as front-wise and recognizing, those schemes. But, we've had a little snap issues here and there with Max and Cam. Trip Thurman can play inside as well. We feel really good. It's 7 to 8 bodies right now. You look at the tackle position, DJ Humphries, Chaz Green, and Trenton Brown are 3 guys that we feel comfortable with. Chaz Green at right tackle and really could switch to the left if needed, and Trenton stay at the right tackle to get him in one spot. At the center position, Max, I think, has done a nice job of making the calls up front. We just got to be a little more consistent in snapping the ball, which will come. I mean, that's part of the transition there, that we knew that was going to happen. Trip Thurman can play center. Cam Diller's done some nice things. Rod Johnson's been a guy we've played at the inside at the guard position that can play right or left guard. Tyler Moore's done a nice job at the guard position, and Trip Thurman can play guard and center. So you look at that, combination of guys, we feel pretty good that we got some guys that are interchangeable to get our best guys on the field. Drew Savari's done some good things, and then Kavaris Harkless, as a high school senior, lining up at left tackle against Dante sometimes can be a tough deal, but he's going to be a good football player. Just needs to keep working.
So you see Rob fitting in somewhere inside you?
Yeah, right now we're playing him at guard. We feel really good about Trenton and Chaz and DJ. And, Rod's a guy that we liked his length on the edge in the fall, but really feel like he can push to be a starter at guard.
Do you find yourself becoming a little bit more of a basketball fan this time of year?
Absolutely. I love March Madness. It's a fun time of the year other than the college football season. It's certainly one of my favorite times of year to watch. The basketball tournament, and our team is fabulous. Billy does a great job, obviously, and we got a heck of a basketball team. Really a great. The word team is what comes to mind, and that's what those guys are.
Did you ever met Billy before you took this?
No, I had not.
What's maybe the one thing you gained from having the coaching mind?
I don't know. Control what you can control. In those situations, and talking to him a lot. He's a guy that's just done. As far as putting Florida basketball on the map, a lot of what, Coach Spurrier did here in football, I would say is very similar. But Florida's not a great basketball state. It's not like the Northeast where from a recruiting standpoint, there are, every year a bunch of guys coming out. I'm probably going to make somebody mad in saying that. Billy and I have talked about it a lot. And what he's done here in developing players and, winning back-to-back national titles, going to Elite 8 now 4 straight years, and headed for another one. So I just I've said it before, I think he's the best college coach period in the country, and I'm just talking about in basketball. I'm talking about overall for what he's done here, because I don't think people realize that this is it's not an easy job as far as basketball is concerned. There's no easy job, but as far as that's concerned, and I think he does a great job at just a really good person first of all, and a good friend. Well, I just continue to the installation offensively and the comfort level across the board. It's tough sometimes, and when we're in thud situations and you stay up to see the run game developing. Those are some things that, Saturday in the scrimmage, looking for those things to continue to develop, the passing game, been pleased with. We've made some explosives. We've had some guys cut loose in space. And I think we got some guys that will be very effective in the fall when that happens. Defensively, the safety position and the corner opposite Vernon is a concern. I've been pleased so far with our play at linebacker. I've been pleased so far with our play up front because I think that, some of the older guys haven't participated as much, but the younger guys are the guys we need to find out what they can do heading into fall camp. The kicking situation is still not what it needs to be, but Austin is hitting the ball more consistently the same way. I think one of the issues that we came out of fall camp and we identified in fall the season was consistently hitting the ball well the same way. And that's kind of like a golf swing. You got to have the same swing every time, and you need to hit it well every time. But if you have the same swing, you got a better chance to hit the ball well every time. And that's where he was very inconsistent in his swing at times in the fall. And that's something we addressed in the fall. Obviously didn't do a very good job of getting it corrected, but we worked hard in the off season with that.
Have you discussed Marcel Harris much?
Mm-hmm.
How's his health first off?
Well, it's the first time he's been healthy since he's been here. I think he's 100%. And again, we put a lot on our safeties in this defense and making calls and formation recognitions and splits and different things and backfield sets and pressures and coverages, and he's going through that process right now of understanding how much we put on a safety here. It's hard in the fall, especially with an injury. He wasn't able to practice as much and be able to do some of the things, and then when you get involved with scout team, you don't get the fast game day reps that you need to have to develop yourself as a player. But that's part of it, and but I'm pleased so far with where he is. We just got to continue to progress and get better.
What about his potential? I mean, it seems to have great size, range.
Well, again, this is the first time he's been really healthy, other than when I saw him in a summer football camp without pads. And again, I think he just needs more turns and reps at the position.
Couple final questions, guys.
Kyle Christie seems to really be punting the ball well. Do you see him?
Both he and Johnny are punting extremely well, battling out for the starting job.
At any point last year, did you see Christie's confidence be shaken, and do you think that he's gotten past that, maybe back towards the
Well, I think he's hitting the ball extremely well, and we're charting every kick, and there's no question his confidence, took a hit, and he's battling for the starting job. We got two guys that got Sunday legs. I mean, they both kick very well.